Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jack Cross from NASCAR on the MDK, and welcome to a Saturday edition of Inside the Lines. We have 3 stories to talk about here today, 2 little mini ones, and then we have another huge story, just like one last Wednesday, regarding the future of NASCAR. Let's not waste any time, however, let's get right into it with the news you need to know. The first story to talk about here is regarding Paul Menard. Now, we know Paul Menard, he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. However, heading to this weekend at Talladega, he announced that he was suffering from neck pain or soreness around his neck, and so that he could need a relief driver if the pain is unbearable to handle throughout the race. So they got Matt Crafton, a Truck Series driver who is currently racing for a championship, I believe. He's on standby. Now, on Friday, yesterday, Crafton actually got in the car and practiced, I believe, final practice. He ran the entire final practice for Menard, who, again, like I said, was suffering from neck pain. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Menard can be able to withstand 500 miles at Talladega, if his neck is able to support all of what's going on, and if not, Matt Crafton would be on standby. This is not the first time that Matt Crafton has been a relief driver in the Cup Series, and remember back in 2015, he was a relief driver for Kyle Busch in the Daytona 500, so he's got some experience on the Cup cars, even though as of late, not much experience, but still, should be interesting to see if Menard is able to run the entire Talladega race, and if not, it'll be interesting to see how Matt Crafton is able to do, a Truck Series driver who is going to be racing later today, at least at the time of this recording, so he's going to have some experience. If he can use that for Talladega Cup race tomorrow, we'll see what happens there. Now on to our next story, and that revolves around the future of Stewart Haas Racing. Now, Stewart Haas Racing just announced 1 or 2 days ago that Eric Almirola and Smithfield Foods have signed an extension deal with Stewart Haas Racing. So let's take a look now at the entire situation regarding Stewart Haas Racing for 2020. So, one thing that's confirmed is Kevin Harvick. He is signed until 2021, and that Eric Almirola extended to beyond 2020. So, those 2 are going to be staying next season. The other 2 is a bit complicated. Clint Boyer, rumors saying that he is expected to return for 2020. Again, nothing is confirmed, however. And Daniel Suarez, I don't see him likely returning to Stewart Haas Racing. Nothing yet, but Suarez did say that they are closing in on a contract deal. Now, what's interesting about this is that depending on how Suarez does the end of the season, and it also depends on how Cole Custer does, because Cole Custer, he has been really, really good so far this season. I believe he has 3 or 4 wins in the series as of late, or this season. He is a massive championship contender. Him and Christopher Bell, I believe, are the 2 favorites to win the Xfinity Series championship. So if Custer wins the championship and Suarez does not show any sign of improvement, like does not score a win, however, I think Suarez needs to win in order to save his job. I see Suarez out. Because Custer, I feel like, he's been in the Xfinity Series, I think, 3 years or so? I think he's ready. Depending on how he does in these last final races in the Xfinity Series, and he's able to win a championship, I think Custer will be ready for Cup. You cannot have an Xfinity for so much longer. Similar with Tyler Reddick. You cannot have him, he needs to be in the Cup Series. You cannot have an Xfinity for so long. He needs to be in the Cup Series. And that's what I view with Custer. Suarez, he's on the hot seat. He either needs to go all in or go home. That's it. He needs to win a race or do something magical in these last 6 or 7 races in order for him to still have a job for 2020. He says contracts are closing in. I don't know. I personally, I don't see Suarez returning in 2020. I think he's been a bust. Was not good at Gibbs. He's improved better at Stewart Haas. At least he was in contention for a playoff spot, unlike at Gibbs, where he was nowhere near the playoffs. At least he was in contention this year, but I don't know. If Suarez does not step up to plate, I could see Cole Custer very likely being in the number 41 car in 2020. And now to our final story, and it's a big one regarding the future of NASCAR and the possibility of them going to hybrids. That's right. A report came out from TechCrunch a few days ago that reports that NASCAR could be introducing a hybrid-like car as early as 2022. According to John Prost, NASCAR's Senior Vice President of Racing Development, he says, quote, "We are traveling the world visiting other sanctioning bodies and are not ignorant to the fact that the world's going towards a more hybrid technology." And that is true. I mean, look at all the other forms of motorsports. They're all going towards hybrid cars, or at least hybridization. You look at IMSA, which is owned by NASCAR. They're going hybrid, or at least I believe they're actually already hybrid. WEC cars, which is the IMSA in Europe, they're also in hybrid cars. Formula One, hybrid. IndyCar, they're going to hybrid in 2022. So it makes sense for NASCAR to go to hybrid cars. I know as soon as I saw the article, and you read the comments, it is just a bunch of closed-minded NASCAR fans. I'm sorry, but if you're really angry at NASCAR going hybrid, then something's wrong with you. Because NASCAR, at some point in time, they're gonna have to go to hybrid. You know, they cannot stay on the ICE cars or the internal combustion engines forever. At some point in time, they're gonna have to, you know, change how they build car engines. They're going to have to upgrade to a more a cleaner and more newer way of racing. It's just how it is. We can't stay in the old days forever. We're gonna have to upgrade, especially in something like this. Now, when the hybrids are supposed to debut in 2022, it's likely that they will debut on short tracks and road courses. You know, the tracks that require a lot more braking, a lot more turning, but it would not be limited to that. The reason why is that it could take more time to develop the hybrid engines for tracks that are 1.5 and bigger, as the EVSs or the hybrid engines lose their regenerative braking at steady rates of speed. So what he's alluding to is the fact that, you know, when you brake, your battery regenerates. So let's say if you're trying to get closer to a guy, to a driver ahead of you, or you're trying to pass him, or you're trying to get away from that driver, you can do is that you can brake so that your battery regens, and then let's say you need it later on, you can use that boost to do whatever you want as you please. NASCAR is still sorting on how a hybrid race would come together. It'll likely be in some form of electrification parallel with our current internal combustion engine to add power, Prob said. So instead of using the hybrid to extend range, NASCAR is looking to use it to improve performance, as I said earlier with the Kerr system. Now NASCAR is trying to find ways to use a hybrid for a supercharged effect on race cars like the Kerr system that you see in Formula 1. Is it deployed automatically in some pre-canned strategy? Is it deployed in the form of a button that the driver hits to get extra power to make a pass or complete a pass? Those are all areas that we have to look at, Prop said. I think you could use the engine to actually do the regen, so the driver gives up an amount of power knowing that he's recharging the battery to then strategically use the boost later on in the race. So yeah, overall my thoughts on this, I like that NASCAR's, actually I should say I like, but it's necessary that NASCAR is going to hybrid. My only concern, and I feel like my main concern, and a lot of fans' concern, is the sound. You know, NASCAR is synonymous with roary, throaty V8 engines, and that's what fans want. And they're afraid that the hybrid cars will eliminate that. I'm a trust NASCAR. I don't say I'm a trust NASCAR, but I feel like NASCAR knows this, and I don't think they're gonna make an engine that does not make some power. I think they're gonna want to make a hybrid engine that still has that same throaty V8 engine. And I think they could make a V8 hybrid engine, not a V6 that you know, or unlike, you know, like in Formula 1 where fans are saying it's not as loud enough, or you know, it's too quiet. Even Brad Keselowski, who posted an article on NASCAR.com, even mentioned this, that he does not want the hybrid engines to sound quiet. You know, he wants them to sound like what you see nowadays, or back then, with like those sturdy V8 engine cars that roar across the track. Keselowski wants that. He's been a main advocate for hybrid cars. I think NASCAR is gonna find a way to make a hybrid engine, a V8 engine that still produces that same sound, that same power as a ICE engine would do. Now, my thoughts on the Kerr system, or a similar way that NASCAR is trying to present. Not a fan of it. I don't like having like a boost just to get by someone. I think my personal opinion, I feel like I would like to see a pass made in terms of driver skill, not because of a boost. You know, I don't like that. I don't think that's the way to go. I understand that, you know, you have to keep up with society in terms of, yeah, other sports are using hybrid engines, but I don't think we have to go completely aligned with Formula 1 or with IndyCar. IndyCar has their push to pass. Formula 1 has their Kerr system. I don't think we need to have our own system. I think we need to go to hybrid engines. I do think that we're going to have to eventually. I don't think we need to go to a boost system, electrification system, where it gives drivers extra power just to make a pass. I'm not a fan of that. I think it's just based on pure driver skill in order to pass cars. That's how I view it as. I'm not a fan of the Kerr system. Look, in Formula 1 and IndyCar, they can have their own thing, but NASCAR, I don't think it needs it, but we'll just see what happens down the line. It's a very, very interesting time for NASCAR. New car coming out in 2021, and a new engine that can change the way how you look at NASCAR in 2022. But what are your guys' thoughts on all those stories I talked about? Do you think if Crafton is going to have to get in the car, do you think he's going to perform well? What do you think about the Stewart Haas situation? Who do you think Suarez is going to return, or do you think Custer will take over? And what are your thoughts on NASCAR's hybrid engine? Are you excited for it, or are you sad about it? Tell me all in the comment section down below. But don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Stewart Haas from NASCAR on MDK. Now see you guys in the next video.